First off, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to those apostles and elders from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that you guys may be sealed soon. And with that, this your brother DeWald Bow from the branch of GMS here in Chicago, coming right back at you with a little lesson. And I just want to sit up. I was just sitting here just thinking, just straight thinking. It wasn't nothing that, just having a moment where you just sit in the room and you just thinking, and things just coming across your mind. And one of the main things that came across my mind here being in Chicago is the weather patterns. It's been like all over the place. I mean, raining very hard. The heat has been unbelievable. And then the tornadoes. And Chicago has never really been known for tornadoes, but we'd have had, quite a few of them that done hit us, in the past, maybe 3 weeks to about two months. We done had a few hitters here and there. And it also actually was considerable amount of damage even to the outskirts and the suburbs and the southern suburbs here in Illinois also. But either way it goes, man, it just got me to thinking, like, look at all these weather patterns, and this is the signs that people don't understand. The wildfires that's in California, the earthquakes that's everywhere. Even Chicago, I think it was an earthquake in the Lake Michigan. I think that was about a week or so ago. The earthquakes that's been happening over in California, Texas, ones that's been striking that hit Japan. And I'm just talking about things that's been all over. Let's not talk about the tsunamis, the hurricanes, the sinkholes, the mudslides that was happening over there in China, and just the weather in general has just been crazy. I mean, when you think about it, Canada just had a big wildfire that happened there, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, that not only was happening there, but it was so big that you could smell it in Detroit, Wisconsin, here in Illinois. It was just, man, the air quality was just horrible. With that being said, man, hey, these are the times that we are in, and I just want to grab a few scriptures because, like I said, I was just sitting here thinking, and I was just like, damn, this weather has been kind of messed up. Because the reason I've been thinking that is because it was raining so bad out here in Chicago. I mean, if you look outside my window, you can see how flooded the street is. It's like about damn near a foot of water covering like half my block in the street. I mean, damn, and so it's just sitting up here letting me, hey, man, look. The times that we are in, man, it's about to get close. Yahweh Shai is getting close to coming back and destroying this fucking place. And we can't wait. I'm only going to get a few scriptures, man, but it was just something on my mind and just some thoughts. But with that, I want to sit up here and get Matthew 24, and I'm going to start at 3. It says, as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And that word Hamashiach means Messiah. When you go into Yahushua, that's he delivers or he saves. Hamashiach just means Messiah. And then it says, and deceive many. There's going to be many false prophets, false pastors, false Israelite groups out here that's not teaching all the right thing. They might teach some of the right stuff, but they don't got the 100% truth. So they going off, and some of the major things they going off on, like the MOTB, they going off hard on that. Saying it's sin, sleeping with white women. They going off hard on that. Saying everybody can make it, and then all sorts of nonsense. That's man, come on, you going truly off. But it says, and this is Matthew 24:6. It says, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And there you are. You hearing of wars and rumors of wars. Wars are actually happening. The Israel, Iran, Ukraine, Russia. We keep on talking about Taiwan and, China at some point. When is that going to break off? See, many things are happening, man, in the world. But here's one of the things that, sometimes get put on the back burner, because people don't always look at the weather as being something that people pay attention to. But these are the main things, these are the main signs of what's going on. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And don't just take earthquakes as meaning just earthquakes when it comes to the weather, when it comes to what you would call Mother Nature. We're talking about tsunamis, we're talking about tornadoes, we're talking about hurricanes, earthquakes, mudslides, sinkholes, the very bad snow. Like Texas was iced down about 2 or 3 years ago. It caught a real bad ice storm. Black ice. Let's not talk about that. The strong winds, the rain, man. The rain alone, man, it could cause a lot of damage, man. You know, all these things. So when you think of earthquakes, you got to think of the weather in general. You got to think of what's happening on Earth in general. You know, all this stuff is happening. And it says that, but it says what? But it says it says earthquakes and pestilence and famines in diverse places. Diverse places means that they're going to be in places that normally don't get them. Like here in Chicago, we don't get tornadoes, but we'd have had a couple of them. Wildfires up in Canada. You know, it was a wildfire here somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was odd for it to be in that place. If it snows in California, which it has, man, snow don't really happen in California. And like I said, Chicago, Illinois has been catching all sorts of crazy weather. Heat, bad rain, freezing temperatures like unbelievable, tornadoes. So it's been kind of, like I said, these are just things that when you look at the sign of the times, it says all these are the beginning of sorrows, and all these are just the beginning of sorrows. So hey man, things are picking up, man, and these are just, the sorrows have already begun. It's just picking up more and more and more on a daily basis, until Yahweh Shah breaks those clouds and get us up out of here. But before that happened, we got the MOTB, and that's the last major prophecy that you got to deal with, along with Jacob's trouble, which is started, but it ain't full blown. So all these things are about to happen pretty soon. But the weather patterns is something that people tend not to always pay attention to. This is 2nd Esdras 9:1. He said, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So all these things were already written in stone before we were even born, before the earth was even made. All this stuff was happening. We're just playing it out until the end. That's it. But what's one of those major things? Earthquakes in diverse places. And that's weather patterns, strange weather patterns. And that goes for all weather, like I've been saying before. Things are happening quickly, man. And I can't wait, man. We brothers, we worn out, we tired, I ain't gonna lie, hey, I'm ready to get off the highways and byways and for all this shit. Hey, the Lord said hastening the day for his coming. Hey, hastening the day means that we hastening to get off the highways and byways for you people to get fucking destroyed. So the Lord can come back and get us up out of here, man. Fuck you people. With a big F and U. Man, we tired, man. Tired of this place. And I know I haven't been doing it longer than all these other bros, so I know I can just imagine how the apostles feel, from Apostle Tahar on down, the elder brothers that's been doing this 20-25 years. Apostles been doing this 35 years plus. Apostle Tahar has been doing this maybe 40 years or more. So my whole point is, man, that hey, all us ready, man. We ready for the kingdom, and that's just facts. What it says, hasten. You know what, man? Since I've said it, I'm gonna get it. Hey, we hastening the day to get up out of here, man. 2 Peter 2 and 3. 2 Peter 2. 2 Peter 3 and 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with a fervent heat. the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. So hey, a thief of the night. A lot of people gonna be caught unawares when all hell break loose. And that goes for when Yahweh Shah breaks those clouds, but that also goes for when all hell break loose on the earth. Motherfuckers ain't gonna be prepared. Things are happening right now gradually, but man, it's gonna be that one thing that's gonna happen, and people gonna be totally unprepared. But the day of the Lord is gonna come as a thief of the night, man. Motherfuckers ain't gonna be ready, man, when the Lord break them clouds with the chariots, man. Them angels. It says, this is 2 Peter 3:11. It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of Yahweh